All right, well, it's time for another update video. I am at the cliffs on the western side of Ireland. I know the sun is really in my face, but I'm losing daylight, so I need to get this video shot. But I found a beautiful place to record, and I think what I'm going to do, because I've got so many different great little videos that I've been shooting, is I think I'm just going to sprinkle in randomly different little shots and pictures from my trip as I talk, just to kind of keep you interested. If you want to see how beautiful this place is and you've never seen Ireland, then you're going to want to watch this video and find out what has been going on at Equal Rights Institute. It has been a busy month. January kind of always ends up like this. There's definitely a pattern now where we are really busy on trips and putting together meetings and getting different things done, that we don't end up producing a lot of our own like podcasts and videos, but we end up doing a lot of other things because it's January and a lot of stuff happens in January. And so that has been the case for us. I'll tell you a little bit about that, and then I'll tell you what we've got going on in the not so distant future. What is it that we kind of have planned for 2020? I want to share a little bit of that with you. But January has been really great. First of all, let me just say, all of you who donated toward our end of year campaign, thank you so much. I would say it ended up being a very successful fundraising campaign. We only raised about half of what I was hoping for, but to be fair, I had a really big goal. And so while we're not going to be able to hire someone to help me with fundraising, probably anytime real soon, we did raise what we needed for everything else that we were hoping to raise. So we needed to get a few things to kind of upgrade our studio, and we just kind of had some other things that we needed to put together and support the staff. We are going to be able to keep Andrew. A lot of people have asked about that because we were looking at the scary possibility of having to lose him because, he just kind of run out of support. And so thanks to all of you who gave for that. We have enough to keep him on part-time for the rest of the year. And we are all excited for that. So thanks to all of you who gave. If you want to see us churn out content more often, then donate so that we can hire someone to help me with the fundraising. Because certainly that takes up some of my time, and so I'm not editing and I'm not creating articles and videos and podcasts as quickly as I would otherwise like to. But speaking of that, that kind of brings us to 2020. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking, what is it I want to do in 2020? Sorry, I know that the sun is like totally in my eyes. This isn't even a very good looking video right now. I'm going to start walking maybe this way. Ooh, that's pretty. So a couple different things. We accomplished all of our goals in 2019. We had these 3 huge goals that were, I think, ambitious, especially given that we lost a full-time staff person. And we haven't replaced Tim. I gave Rachel a promotion. She's in that role, but it's not like we have since hired another full-time content creator. So I am helping more with content creation. I've kind of had to step in that way. But it's, we are still understaffed. And yet we finished the Sidewalk counseling course. We relaunched the Equip for Life podcast. And now most of that is in a public feed. And we've explained why in previous update videos and articles and things like that. And we shot and edited and published this 1.5 hour long extension to the Equip for Life course about that kind of gets into advanced philosophy. And what do we mean by person? How exactly are we defining that? And kind of this equal rights argument 2.0 that we've been talking about. So that put us in a really cool situation or position where 2020 is open. Like, what do we want to do with 2020? Like, there's this kind of open path towards all these different kinds of things that we could do because we are done with those huge projects that we were hoping to finish by the end of 2019. So I've spent a lot of time thinking for the last month or two about that. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but I'll tell you, like, goal number one of the most important things for me to do this year is to get us into what I've been calling in the office our new normal. And by new normal, I mean a regular publishing schedule, particularly with podcasts and videos. You know, we have a video studio now. We raised the money for it. We set it up last year, but because we're so busy, you know, completing, you know, like the editing and kind of the post-production work on the Sidewalk counseling course and that advanced module, it's not like we've been regularly podcasting. We've recorded several podcasts. We need to record a few just to kind of relaunch the podcast. But it's not like we've been in there making videos all the time. We've been making kind of what we needed to complete those different things. So I want to get us into kind of a regular publishing schedule, the way that we once had with the podcast. We did that Equip for Life course podcast for a couple of years, and we're very regular with it. We took a Christmas break basically, but we did a great job of kind of staying on schedule. And so I want to get us back to that. I want our people who follow us and are interested in what we're learning and kind of hearing those thoughts to kind of know, all right, the podcast is going to happen every other week. It's just going to come out no matter what. And there's going to be a new article every other week. And there's going to be a new YouTube video every other week. That's basically the schedule that we are shooting for right now. We have to kind of jump in and see if that's doable, but that's Rachel and my goal, is 2 podcasts a month, 2 YouTube videos that are not podcasts a month. And those can be different things. That can be us talking to the camera about different ideas or a new argument or answering a question, all the way to kind of more difficult projects, but things that I'm really excited about. Like, for example, that's a lighthouse behind me, by the way. I don't know if you can see this. So cool. I just went through puberty. It's so cool. No. What was I saying? Oh, like response videos. So I've got some videos on YouTube that I want to record responses to, and I want to start doing that more often. That's a bigger editing project, but I really like that kind of video. You might remember I did this a couple of years ago with the Reversing Road documentary. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It really came out well. I'm really happy with how that came out. But I want to make some more of those. So I've got kind of a secret list I've been compiling. Secret list makes it sound way more cool than it actually is. I've got a list of ideas of videos. And if there are videos that you would be interested in watching me kind of react to, send them. And say, hey, I'm interested in maybe Josh reacting to one of these. There's no guarantee it's going to happen, but you also wouldn't be the first to send us a video saying, hey, this would make a cool video, because I've been talking about doing more React videos for a while now. So anyway, so we're going to be getting to our new normal. We kind of knew we wouldn't start this in January because of the DC trip and the Ireland trip. But once I get back to town, the goal is going to be to get a bunch of stuff recorded and get us into kind of a even more efficient workflow as far as editing and getting things out and just, get into our new normal. So that's big priority number 1. Big priority for me, number 2, is going to be to get us to where we're reaching more people. We haven't spent a ton of time marketing ourselves. We've spent very, very little money marketing ourselves. We just kind of, the focus has been organic growth, and that's gone fairly well. In fact, one of our coolest but nerdiest statistics from last year, as I was going over the 2019 analytics versus 2018, this is cool for anyone who's like into social media growth, is our Facebook organic reach. So the people that we reached with our content through Facebook, but without paying for it, which is how Facebook usually tries to get pages to reach their people. Our Facebook organic reach went up about 1,300%. It's either 12 or 1,300%, which is huge. And so I think basically if we got good at Facebook, and what I mean by that is Rachel and Jen got good at Facebook because I delegated a lot to them. So they're the ones that are putting together the quote picks and reposting evergreen articles, and just kind of putting stuff out there more often than we used to back when I was in charge of basically all of it. And so, but there are things that we haven't done that bigger nonprofits than us do to try to just get to where they're reaching more people. And that's important because what we have to share is really important. And frankly, this trip to Ireland has only kind of reaffirmed that for me. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But Given that, it's important for us to reach more people with what we've already created. And so I've kind of gotten to know some different people in various nonprofits who are just really, really good and experienced at different ways of growing a nonprofit, growing, how many people are you emailing and how many people are on the Facebook page and reading the stuff, like just different things like that. And there's just strategies that I've never prioritized. I've kind of known that they exist, but we've always been so focused on making the new thing. So that's the thing that I'm going to be focusing on in 2020. And then the other thing I'll mention about 2020, and then I want to talk a little bit about DC and Ireland real quick, and then I'll be done, is Rachel had this awesome idea last year that we are doing, which is that all of the staff members are going to work on a passion project. Kind of partly for the sake of self-care. Last year was hard on our staff, for kind of various reasons, and staff morale. This is a thing that a lot of companies actually do sometimes, is encourage their employees to focus not all their time, but some of their time on a passion project. And it just does wonders for kind of getting the creative juices flowing. And so I don't think I'm going to tell you what anyone's passion projects are right now. I think we'll probably talk more about that in the future. Because one of the hard things is you never know how long these things will take. It's not as important as getting to our new normal with the podcasts and videos. But I will tell you that I know that my passion project is going to be a book, or perhaps an ebook. And I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. I'm sure I'm going to get into it down the road, maybe when I'm further along the process, but I know exactly what this book is going to be. I've already started writing it. And I've already started doing a lot of research and starting to do some interviews. And it's something that I'm hoping I can get out later this year. I don't think it's probably going to be the kind of book that I'm trying to get printed and sell a lot. Although who knows? I'm pretty early in the process. Minimally, I would love it for it to be an ebook. It might be the kind of thing that we put out on the website for free. For anyone who gives us an email address. That's one thing that we might do. Maybe we'll print some copies for booths, and people like to go to booths and get books signed, so maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I'm still early in the process, but I'm really excited about it. It's not the book that I've been talking about. It's not one of the several books I've talked about writing, like the Pastor Project, but it's something that I care a lot about. And when I've worked on it, it doesn't feel like work, which is a really cool thing. And so that is a thing that I don't know how much time I'm going to get to spend on it in the next couple of months, because there's all the speaking and getting to our new normal. But certainly that's going to be something that I'm working on this year, probably a lot this summer. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to tell you about it. I just don't think I should right now. I think it's too early. But it's a really cool thing. I'm really proud of Rachel for coming up with that idea. I think it's going to be really great for our staff. Okay, let me tell you just a little bit about DC and Ireland, where I am. See, it's Ireland. It's beautiful. So DC was great. Last year when we went to the March for Life, this is the first time most of our staff had been to the March for Life. We were thinking about, what do we want to do with this? What could we do to be more visible, more helpful, meet more people who are already familiar with us, and came up with the idea of using teardrop banners, kind of like what Secular Pro-Life does. They have a big teardrop banner. I think we saw that and we're like, that's cool and great, we should do that. And so during our big, one of our big staff meetings last year, we came up with the three, messages that we would print and sent them to a graphic designer and had them put together after we raised the funds for it. Thanks to all of you who gave money for the banners. I think there's specifically 3 of you who actually donated $400 to get each of those banners for us, and they came out so great. And so we brought those to the March, and it was really helpful. So we did a kind of a fan meetup thing where we kind of found a spot at the March before the rally began, and we set up the banners, and people could come and say hi, and we could answer questions or just meet people, get to know them, take selfies, whatever people wanted to do, and that was nice. Um, and then we did the march, and a lot of people saw these banners. We're going to do it better next year. We already kind of figured out a better thing to do, because we got stuck kind of toward the back of the march. And then just if you've ever been to the March for Life, especially at the back, you know it's like a lot of like standing still and then waiting for things to move, because you've got multiple large groups of people that end up merging into one thing, and so it's just like traffic, you know. And at some point, Jacob and I kind of had the same thought. It's like, hey, the people around us, you know, the few hundred people with, you know, have seen the banners. How do we get more people to see the banners and you know, maybe start wondering, what is this group? What should I look into them, kind of a thing. And so then we kind of walked up along the side to get toward the front, and then kind of stationed ourselves there. So next time we figured out we are going to we're not going to do the march exactly. We're going to start there in the front where we ended up. And that way, like, everyone in the march will at least see the signs, and people who know us and want to come and say hi real quick can do that. It was really cool having some people come up to us who weren't already familiar with us, but saw the messaging and were like, what is this? What is, you know, what do you mean by a fresh approach to the abortion issue? And we could talk a little bit about that and kind of get people interested. So I think that was really cool. We can do better next year, but it was a great first attempt at having some kind of visible presence at the march. We're going to keep on doing that. It was really cool to connect with people at the summit as well. We just put out a video. It's like a 12-minute video with sharing kind of testimonials from people that we met at the march, met at the conference, and at some meetings that have been helped by ERI. And I just think it's a really great thing for people to, especially our donors, to get to hear from the actual people that we're helping, from the people that you have helped us to help, to hear how this is helping them. So I'm not going to reshare all that. I'll just say we've got people in the video from Australia, from Scotland, from, man, I don't even remember all the different places, all over the country for sure. Some both kind of pro-life advocates as well as pro-life leaders, and so I would just encourage you, if you're one of our donors, please go check that out, just to be encouraged. It's not meant to be a look how awesome we are or our staff is. It's really meant to be something that the people who've helped make this work possible, hopefully it would be an encouragement to them. So check that out. And then Ireland. So let me just tell you what's going on here. This is kind of a last minute trip that happened, or at least it felt like last minute to us. I think we had about a 3 to 4 week notice that a group wanted me to come and speak in Ireland just a few days after the march. So literally like 2 days after we got back from DC, I was headed down to Atlanta with my family, so that Hannah and I could fly to Ireland to do some talks. Finally, I got to take Hannah on a trip. It's only the second time I've ever taken Hannah on a speaking trip, but my mom is awesome and volunteered to help watch the kids so that Hannah could finally go to a different country. And so we're here for about a week. We are almost done with the trip. This is kind of one of the last things that I wanted to do, is make sure that I could make an update video, because where else are you going to find a better place to shoot an update video? Like, I mean, this is incredible. This is literally, I've seen the most beautiful places I've ever seen today. And it's been a really, really nice thing. But I'm not just here to sightsee. In fact, most of this trip has been work. There's been, you know, maybe half or 2/3 work and 1/3 pleasure. And so I've done multiple talks. I spoke at a Students for Life of Ireland conference. I gave 4 talks at that over a couple of days. I did kind of a meet and greet with some pro-life leaders here and consulted with them. And then last night I spoke at a different kind of pro-life youth future leader meeting. I don't remember exactly what they called it, but they're training young people, and as they say, trying to future-proof their movement by getting young people involved, which is really, really cool. This has been really rewarding. It's something that I want to do more. So I put together a new talk called What the Pro-Life Movement in Ireland Needs to Know in 2020. I recorded that. I've given that talk a couple of times. So at some point on the Equal Rights Institute podcast, the same podcast stream, we'll upload this video audio too. We'll post a version of that speech and maybe some of the Q&A. Especially for other Irish pro-lifers who didn't get to hear any of these talks. But if you're kind of interested in what's going on in Ireland, I've learned a lot about what's going on in Ireland in the last couple of years, where, if you don't know, abortion became legal a couple of years ago. And there's a lot of interesting reasons for that, and there's things that the pro-life movement needs to understand if they're going to be effective here. And so my goals here have been dual. There's been a goal to obviously equip the pro-life movement to be effective, but also I want to encourage them. This movement here in this small country just had their Roe versus Wade. They're still reeling from that. It happened pretty quickly. And so I want to encourage them by kind of saying, yes, I know this is hard. I know this is kind of a tricky time, but at the same time, you can learn from what is working in the pro-life movement in America and also what has not been working very well. You can kind of fast forward through 45 years of experience. And so they're just really excited for that. And they really felt like what we have to share is exactly what they've needed. And so, my experience in Denmark a couple of years ago has really kind of got me thinking that the style of dialogue and the arguments that we teach, while they're, I think, very effective in America, I think they're even more effective in other countries where the pro-choice movement is more hostile to the pro-life movement. We teach, we teach a gentler approach than some of our colleagues whom we respect. And that approach, combined with the equal rights argument, pro-life movement in other countries are finding it to be so effective. And so, when I was in Denmark a couple of years ago, I grew a great affection for the pro-life movement, the international pro-life movement, because it's like, hey, here are these brothers and sisters. I never even knew they existed. And I've spent this kind of, wonderful couple of days with them. And I care about them a lot. And I want to help them and encourage them. But also, I kind of acknowledge that we have something really special and incredibly important to offer them. So I want to go to other countries. So I've already got an invitation from Gibraltar. They actually reached out, like, we were about to fly to Ireland, and they were like, can you extend the trip and come out to Gibraltar? We're about to have an abortion referendum. And unfortunately, there was no way to make that possible. So maybe they're next on the list. I know Scotland has been talking about having us out. Would love to do Scotland and maybe England and try to help them out. That doctor in Australia sure seemed interested in having me out. I know there's multiple people have really been following us in Australia. So that might be coming. And again, it's not just to go and sightsee and travel around the world and, pretend to be working. Like, I really, really want to help the pro-life community in these other countries, and I think we have a lot to offer. So, all that being said, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your prayers. There's a lot of really, really cool things going on, and I hope that you're excited as we are. God bless.